Okay, hello, my name is Mel and I'm going to provide in this presentation an in-depth overview of multi-factor authentication, MFA, covering its concepts, factors, practical applications, benefits, risks and future trends. We'll explore how MFA enhances security and best practices for implementing it effectively. We will begin by understanding what MFA is, or multi-factor authentication, its evolution, discuss the different authentication factors, explore how MFA works in practice, and examine various MFA solutions. Following that, we will review benefits, risks, best practices, analyse case studies, and conclude with insights into the future of MFA. The following section covers fundamental concepts of MFA, distinguishing it from authorization and tracing the history and development of authentication methods to provide context for modern MFA approaches. Multi-factor authentication requires users to provide two or more verification factors to gain access, enhancing security beyond single-factor methods like passwords alone. This approach helps reduce the risk of unauthorized access, and it's something that everybody and every company should be doing. Okay? Authentication verifies identity, while authorization determines access permission. MFA focuses on authentication by confirming who the user is before allowing further access. And this is worth highlighting, okay? So authentication verifies who you are, authorization determines permissions. And there's also accounting in AAA, which we're not discussing right now, but that means having logs and auditing available, all right, to know who's doing what. Authentication evolved from simply using passwords to complex MFA systems. Early methods included physical tokens and knowledge-based factors, progressing to biometrics and software solutions today. Authentication factors are categorized as knowledge, possession, and inherence. Combining these increase security by requiring multiple proofs of identity. Knowledge factors involve something the user knows, such as passwords or a PIN. Although common, they are vulnerable to theft or guessing, making necessary additional factors. And this is something too, like knowledge factors are something that can be very easily guessed or hacked. So this is something you probably would do along with other ways of authenticating, okay? Possession factors require something like the user has hardware tokens, smart cards, or mobile devices that generate or receive verification codes. Inherence factors use unique biological traits such as facial recognition, fingerprint, iris scan, offering a high level of security by verifying the user's physical identity. And more mobile phones now use a fingerprint to log on, which is something that's good. It's not easily hackable or getting around that. Okay, facial recognition can have problems, but it is still enhanced security. Okay. The following section explains how the typical MFA process, integration with existing system, examples to illustrate how MFA enhances everyday security. Users enter their credentials, then provide additional verification via a second factor, such as a code from an app or biometric scan, ensuring stronger identity confirmation. MFA can be integrated into existing IT infrastructures, including VPNs, which are virtual private networks, cloud services, and enterprise applications, often through APIs, right, or application program interfaces, or authentication gateways. Common MFA implementations include mobile banking apps, and you should all have, and any mobile banking app should have MFA. Email providers, yes, and social media platforms. So look, everything should have MFA. I use, like, MFA has for, like, my shopping for Coles and Woolworths. They require MFA, and so they should. Okay, so everything should have MFA. Where users verify identity with codes or biometric scans or something else, okay? MFA solutions vary by factor type, technology, including hardware devices, software applications, and biometric systems, each with distinct advantages and use cases. Hardware tokens generate time-sensitive codes or use cryptographic keys. Smart cards provide secure access to system by storing credentials physically. Now, this can be a good idea, but people can lose these too, and they can get damaged, they can become non-functional. So that is something, like, while they can be good, this is something you need to consider, like, for people who lose things, maybe they get damaged. And yeah, so there's issues around that as well. That can be a good thing though, so depending on what you're doing and what you're using, okay? But a lot of this hardware tokens is starting to go by the wayside, just simply because there are better ways than this, okay? Software methods include authenticator apps generating codes and SMS messages that deliver one-time passwords or one-time codes, offering convenience and easy deployment. Now, this is also a very good method. So you can get a one-time password or a one-time code to a mobile phone or to your email. But then again, if someone's phone gets lost or hacked, they've got access to that, or damaged, they might not be able to do that anymore. And same with email. So look, this is a good way of doing things as well. But you just need to remember there can be issues with it, but this is a great advantage. And a lot of companies do this because it's fairly easy to use and fairly easy to set up. Biometric MFA uses physiological traits to authenticate users, offering seamless and highly secure access. Okay, and I just want to go into biometric before we go into the next section a little bit. Biometrics is probably the most secure, and look, obviously I think using biometric like fingerprints, facial scan, iris scan is probably the best solution, but it's also difficult for people to use in some instances if they don't, like phones as of yet, they do scan fingerprints. I don't know how reliable that is, but they do, so that's probably a bonus. You can install fingerprint scanners on laptops and computers, so people can have to use their fingerprints to get onto a network, for instance, or an iris scanner. You can install those as well. It can be expensive and difficult to roll out, but look, I do think that biometric scanners are probably the best. Okay, so continuing on, MFA significantly enhances security, reduces cyber attack risks, and helps organisations meet compliance, protecting sensitive data and systems. By requiring multiple proofs of identity, MFA protects against password theft, phishing, and unauthorised access, strengthening overall security posture. Look, the most important thing with any company or any person using a computer, individuals or company, you don't want personal information, financial information, customer information spread out all over the internet. You don't want your company secrets or company processes or personal secrets spread out all over the internet. And so this is something that, because that costs money, people can sue you, people can blackmail you, people can take your invention and use it and without giving you any credit or money for it. So this is why, like, MFA is important and it helps reduce costs in the long run, okay? MFA has been shown to drastically lower incidents of account compromise and breaches, making it critical control in cybersecurity strategies. And look, MFA is one of the most important cyber security strategies you can. And also user and worker education. I've got to say this again and again through all my videos, because educating people broadly about cybersecurity risks and what not to do, about having, passwords that are 12 characters in length, that have special characters. Don't use obvious passwords like your mother's maiden name or your dog's name or anything like that. So this is something we need to educate the broader public on as well, okay? Many regulations such as GDPR, okay, that's Europe, and HIPAA, that's American, mandate or recommend MFA. And Australia's Essential 8 also recommend strong cybersecurity precautions, and MFA would be just one of those, okay? And honestly, it's worth your while as a company to do this, because it will help your customers and workers feel more protected, enhances your reputation, and it can avoid legal complications. And you don't want to earn a bad reputation. You don't want to earn legal sue fines. And for individual people or small companies too, it is vital, because you can't afford to lose money or secrets or have personal information out there. So it is worthwhile doing for its own sake. But most countries now do require it, okay? Despite its benefits, obviously MFA, like everything else, has vulnerabilities. And this is something I'm going to emphasize again and again, because nothing is unhackable, okay? Nothing. So all you can do is reduce what they call the attack surface, reduce the opportunities and the vulnerability of people to commit fraud or to attack your systems, okay? It can have problems with user adoption, okay? Not everyone's going to be a fan, and this is why user education and showing how to use it, showing what to do, and implementation complexities that you have to look at, all right? MFA can be susceptible to phishing, man-in-the-middle attacks, or device theft, which I mentioned earlier. Strong protocols and user awareness mitigate these risks. And that is something you need to consider, all right? I've said this again and again. Users may resist MFA due to perceived complexity or inconvenience, highlighting the need for user-friendly solutions and education. Yes. Deploying MFA requires integration effort, ongoing support and updates. Organisations must plan resource allocation accordingly. And this is something you should try and generate a good mood around this, and explain to your workers. Some of them, and a lot of them, may not be very proficient in MFA or proficient in IT. Show them how to do it. Go through training sessions. Make it fun for them. Give, people prizes for, or something, recognition. And for everyday users, people at home, we can educate them and show them why this is a good thing. Successful MFA deployment involves selecting appropriate factors, educating users, and continually reviewing and updating security protocols. Assess organizational needs, risk levels, and user context to select MFA methods that balance security with usability. Now, everything in cybersecurity, you have to consider this. How user-friendly is it? What does it cost? And how secure it's going to be. And you need to balance all of those, okay? Providing clear guidance and training helps users understand MFA benefits and processes, improving acceptance and compliance. Continuous evaluation and updates ensure that MFA remains effective against emerging threats and evolving technologies. Examining practical implications and outcomes from diverse industries highlights the impacts and lessons learned from MFA adoption. Many organisations report enhanced security and reduced breaches after implementing MFA, demonstrating its effectiveness in real settings. Cases of breaches due to lack of MFA emphasise its critical role in preventing unauthorised access and data loss. Different sectors adopt varying MFA technologies based on their specific requirements and threat landscapes, offering insights into best fit solutions. Looking ahead, MFA continues to evolve with innovations and passwordless methods, AI integration and enhanced biometric capabilities driving the next generation of security. Because look, the threat landscape and cybersecurity hacks are evolving too. They are developing new methods, new way of getting in. So cybersecurity awareness and software and hardware and everything to do with cybersecurity needs to keep improving. Okay, that is unfortunate, but that is just the reality. Emerging trends focus on eliminating passwords entirely by using biometrics, hardware tokens or cryptographic keys to improve security and user experience. AI and ML, which is artificial intelligence and machine learning, help detect anomalous behaviour, adapt authentication challenges in real time and improve threat detection for smarter MFA systems. We expect MFA to become more seamless, integrated with identity management systems, and increasingly reliant on behavioural contextual data for authentication. Multifactor authentication is a critical component of modern cybersecurity. By understanding its factors, benefits, risks, and future directions, organisations can implement MFA strategies to protect their assets and users. And some common MFA can be Google Authenticate, Microsoft Authenticate, Windows one-time password, and many others. There's so many. And this is like for everyday users. I would be asking your bank to implement MFA on all your accounts, and you can probably get a text SMS, or if you've got a phone capable of fingerprint, that's one way. And another, I would be asking every company you deal with to have MFA. Like if you're shopping anything at all online, you should have MFA. You should have MFA just on your PC, even if you don't have a lot of online presence, okay? Thank you for your time.